The book of Exodus tells a powerful story. Pharaoh, stubborn and proud, refused to free the Israelites. Plagues swept through Egypt, but still he held on to his power. Then came the final blow, the death of the firstborn. Every firstborn son, a symbol of hope and lineage, was struck down. This was the curse of the firstborn, a punishment that finally broke Pharaoh's will.
Centuries later, the echoes of this curse linger, not in the literal slaying of children, but in the heavy expectations placed on firstborns, especially in African families. We feel it, the weight of responsibility, the unspoken pressure to succeed, to uplift not just ourselves, but our entire families. Is this our modern-day curse?
In many African cultures, the firstborn child carries a special significance. They're often seen as the torchbearers of the family's legacy, the ones who must uphold traditions and set an example for the younger ones. They are seen as trailblazers, the ones who pave the way for their siblings. This role comes with immense pride, but also a heavy responsibility. They are the first to venture into the world, to chase opportunities, to climb the ladder of success. Their achievements are celebrated, but they also set the bar for what is expected from the rest of the family, and with this comes an unspoken expectation to reach back and pull their families up with them. This means not just offering guidance, but also tangible support.
This expectation often translates into a financial burden. The firstborn is frequently seen as the family's financial backbone. The firstborn is expected to contribute to the family's well-being, often sacrificing their own dreams to support their siblings' education, their parents' healthcare, and other essential needs, or the family's basic needs. This can mean taking on multiple jobs, working long hours, and constantly juggling responsibilities. They become the safety net, the reliable source of support, even when it means stretching themselves thin. The pressure can be overwhelming, yet they continue to persevere. It's a cycle that repeats itself. Each generation of firstborns takes on this mantle, often without question, driven by a deep sense of duty and love. Generation after generation, the firstborn shoulders the weight of their family's aspirations. They carry the dreams of many, ensuring that the family continues to thrive and prosper.
But the burden isn't just financial, it's emotional too. The weight of expectations can be overwhelming. The firstborn often carries the weight of their parents' unfulfilled dreams, their siblings' hopes, and the anxieties of a whole lineage. They are expected to set an example, to be the pillar of strength. They become the confidants, the advisors, the mediators, the emotional anchor for their families. They are the ones who are turned to in times of crisis, the ones who are expected to have all the answers. Imagine carrying the hopes and dreams of a whole village on your shoulders. It's a heavy load, one that can feel insurmountable at times.
It can lead to burnout, resentment, and a sense of being trapped by their birth order. The constant pressure can be suffocating. It can stifle their individuality, forcing them to prioritize their family's needs over their own. Their personal dreams and aspirations often take a back seat. This pressure can manifest in different ways. It can affect their mental health, their relationships, and their overall well-being. The firstborn might feel obligated to pursue a certain career path, even if it doesn't align with their passions. They might feel they have no choice but to follow the path laid out for them. They might suppress their own desires, their own need for self-discovery, to fulfill the role that's been thrust upon them. The journey to find their true self becomes a distant dream.
There's a spiritual dimension to this as well. In the Bible, being the firstborn often signified being chosen by God for a special purpose. Think of Moses, the leader who led his people to freedom. Or Jesus, the firstborn of God, who carried the weight of the world's sins on his shoulders.
These figures, though chosen, also faced immense challenges. They were tested, tempted, and ultimately called to make great sacrifices. Their stories offer a glimpse into the complex relationship between destiny and duty, between personal ambition and collective responsibility. Are firstborn children in African families similarly chosen? Not in a divine, biblical sense, but chosen by circumstance, by tradition, by the weight of cultural expectations.
Let's talk about Auntie Nneka. Everyone knows an Auntie Nneka. Firstborn daughter, brilliant mind, dreamed of being a doctor.
But then her father died. And suddenly, she was responsible for her younger siblings' schooling. Her dreams of medical school faded, replaced by the reality of long hours at the market stall.
Or what about Uncle Emeka, the eldest son, expected to take over the family business? Even though his heart yearned to be an artist, he put aside his paintbrushes and stepped into his father's shoes.
These stories are not unique. They are woven into the fabric of many African families. They are whispered in hushed tones, shared as cautionary tales, and passed down through generations.
And what happens when the firstborn does achieve success? Do they finally escape the curse?
Not always. Success often brings a new set of expectations. They become the family's benefactor, the one everyone turns to for help.
Their accomplishments become a communal resource, their wealth a shared responsibility. This can create a complex dynamic.
On the one hand, there's pride and a sense of accomplishment in being able to provide for their families. On the other hand, there's the constant pressure to maintain that success, to keep the money flowing, to never show weakness or struggle.
This can lead to a sense of guilt, a fear of disappointing their families. It can also breed resentment and conflict, as siblings might come to expect handouts rather than forging their own paths.
So how do we break this cycle? How do we move beyond the traditional expectations that have been placed on the firstborn for generations? How do we redefine what it means to be the firstborn in a way that honors both family and individual aspirations? It's a delicate balance, but one that is essential for the well-being of everyone involved.
It starts with open communication within families and within our communities. This means creating spaces where everyone feels heard and valued. We need to have honest conversations about expectations, about shared responsibility, and about the roles each family member plays. It's about the importance of supporting each other's dreams, recognizing that each person has their own path to follow, not just burdening the firstborn with them. The firstborn should feel empowered to pursue their own dreams, not just carry the weight of the family's expectations.
It's about shifting from a mindset of obligation to one of collaboration. When we work together, we can achieve so much more. Yes, family is important, and supporting each other is crucial. But that support should be mutual, not one-sided. But that support should be a two-way street, not a one-way extraction from the firstborn child. Everyone in the family has a role to play in supporting each other.
This requires a collective effort. It's not just about the firstborn, it's about the entire family and community working together. Parents need to be mindful of the pressures they place on their firstborn children. They need to recognize that their firstborn is an individual with their own dreams and aspirations. Siblings need to recognize the sacrifices their elder brother or sister has made. They need to appreciate the support they have received and find ways to give back. And the community as a whole needs to create a more supportive environment where success isn't solely measured by an individual's ability to single-handedly uplift their entire lineage. We need to redefine success as a collective achievement where everyone contributes and everyone benefits.
For those carrying the weight of the firstborn curse, it's crucial to remember that you are not alone. Your feelings of resentment, guilt, or exhaustion are valid. It's okay to set boundaries, to prioritize your own well-being, to pursue your own passions, even if it means deviating from the path laid out for you.
Remember, your birth order doesn't define you. You are not obligated to sacrifice your dreams on the altar of family obligation. It's about finding a balance, a way to honor your family without losing yourself in the process.
This might mean having difficult conversations with your family, setting clear boundaries about your finances and your time. It might mean seeking therapy or counseling to process your emotions and develop healthy coping mechanisms.
Ultimately, breaking the cycle of the firstborn curse requires a collective healing. It requires us to redefine what family means, to move beyond traditional hierarchies and embrace a more equitable and supportive dynamic.
This means fostering a culture of open communication, where individuals feel comfortable expressing their aspirations and challenges without fear of judgment or pressure. It means celebrating individual achievements while also recognizing the importance of collective effort and shared responsibility.
It's about building communities where success is not a zero-sum game, where one person's accomplishments don't come at the expense of another's.
The story of the firstborn doesn't have to be a curse. It can be a story of resilience, of strength, of unwavering love and support. It's time to rewrite the narrative, to shift the paradigm from burden to blessing, from obligation to opportunity.
By embracing open communication, setting healthy boundaries, and fostering a culture of mutual support, we can break free from the shackles of this modern-day curse.
We can create a future where every child, regardless of birth order, has the freedom to pursue their dreams and reach their full potential, lifting each other up along the way.